with
Are we
Kong
live?
versus Godzilla. Yeah, as soon as I started doing the fucking rant, it's like, okay, fuck off. Feck off! It's like, get this fucking password off of me! So I guess before we start, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, ready to rock and roll.
Rock
you?
and roll. Pretty good.
Feeling
Actually,
kinda invincible.
I'm like, give me a White Castle. Oh, wait.
That's how you're gonna feel tomorrow.
Yeah. Until I like, dude. So I'm so pissed off at this kind of shit, but there are like so many people that are creating false articles about stuff, and I think this just pisses me off even more though, because there are ones that are being created about like the COVID vaccine, and it's like that kind of shit is like, that's deadly, you know, to make someone not want to get that. Because there's an article about people being like, oh, my friend's, you know, brother was a fucking doctor, and he had a patient that got the vaccine and his skin fell off. And I looked into this, and this is a real thing that can happen, but there's no link to the COVID vaccine. So it's literally someone took a super rare disease that you can get. I forget what it's called. It's some kind of syndrome where it's like your skin starts to peel off, but it doesn't have any relation to the COVID vaccine. But you can only guess where it was started. Facebook. So
That sounds so ridiculous.
yeah.
Like he got the vaccine and his skeleton popped out.
He was like, wow, Inside Out Boy. But, you know what I mean? It just kind of pisses me off, because it's like, there are literally people out there that are like older or like at risk that need to get this vaccine, but they're probably scared because they saw that shit and won't get it, and then maybe they'll get COVID and then they'll really die. It's like, okay, dude, fuck off. You know? Anyway, second fucking rant of the podcast. What was I was gonna say something. Oh, did you, before we even get into anything, did you see the fucking Space Jam 2 fucking trailer?
No,
Okay.
I saw that it exists.
Okay.
And
I kind of hope that
ignore
you would have seen it so we could have talked about it, because it is so fucking ridiculous. I was like, it's like literally Ready Player One Space Jam style, because it's not just Looney Tunes. It's like they have every like thing that like WB owns in the background at one point around the court. So like, I kind of understood like the cartoons, like they had like the Flintstones and shit and Hanna-Barbera, and I was like, okay, that whatever. But at one point they have the fucking the White Walkers from fucking Game of Thrones and like the dudes from fucking Clockwork Orange. Yeah. I was like, huh?
That makes me want to vomit
Yeah, it was...
with rage.
King Kong was there, too. Speaking of which...
Oh, great, just like Ready Player One.
He was like...
One
He
of the worst movies I've ever seen.
He just did that the whole time.
The true king of kings, Donkey Kong.
It's true. I couldn't... I have a Donkey Kong tie, but I couldn't fucking find it, so...
Oh, nice.
Or I couldn't find it in time. Because I was taking a shit. Okay, so now that we've talked a bunch of bullshit, let's talk some more bullshit. Let's get to nerd news, sir.
Right. Nerd news.
I need to switch that, because until I do, I don't think the Buddy Boys are going to be happy. A.K.A. you.
It's not extreme enough, I'm telling you.
It's true. NYD, NRD, NWZ.
Yeah, man.
Nerd wings.
Get rid of those vowels.
Yeah, people were like, what the fuck? So, did you hear that Sylvester Stallone is going to not return for Creed 3?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Which is funny
He's run its
because
course at this point.
he's like, I'm all about Rocky, but fuck being in Creed. And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Who cares? Go do something new.
I think I've probably mentioned this before, but the thing I find ironic about the success of the Creed movies is like Carl Weathers isn't allowed to be in them, even though he's responsible for making the character. So, it's kind of funny how that works.
He's not allowed to be in them because he's 700 feet under. Yeah.
They should have like brought him back as a Force ghost.
Yeah.
Like seriously, in a dream sequence or something. That would have been awesome.
Or, well, they should have done something with him and like Stallone, like a flashback or something.
Yeah.
Like, why are they old? They could de-age them CG style.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would have worked.
Yeah, totally.
Actually, it probably would have been okay because they're not like 1,000 years old like Robert De Niro and
Joe Pesci.
Yeah, in The Irishman, where they're supposed to be 30 and they're like walking around like Mr. Wilson. It's like, he's like, when I was an older man, Dennis, I played for the Chicago Bears. I'm like, I don't know why he sounds like Cosby, kind of. That was.
And then Christopher Lloyd was one of the scariest villains I've ever seen.
What you got there, kid? Apple. I'm like, holy shit! Speaking of Star Wars, though, I read that Del Rey, like the people that make those like Star Wars books.
Were we speaking of Star Wars?
Yeah, because you said Force Ghost at one point.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like they announced that they're planning to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm by releasing a curated collection of beloved Star Wars novels, including those from the expanded universe. So maybe you can get a re-release of that book you had on your like toilet for the longest time that I saw every time I went in there. The what was it, Lando's fucking adventures or whatever. Yeah. The fucking
like the further adventures of Lando.
Right, it's like this Sfatagarian gem cave or some shit. I was like, what? What's your nerd
Never did
news?
get through this.
Well,
my nerd news this week is linked to Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, nice.
Because
topical.
The King Kong remake from 1976 is finally getting a Blu-ray release.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, that's legit, dude.
Yeah, that was one of the movies that was one of the first movies we had on tape, and we watched it all the time. So I've always been fond of it, even though I don't think it's like that great. But
which one's the one where he gets a heart replacement? Is that Kong Lives?
Yeah, that's the sequel.
Okay.
King
I always
Kong
thought that was kind of
Lives?
interesting.
Oh, that one's crazy. That one's like Troll 2, like so bad
Yeah.
it's good territory.
They're like, here's a fucking heart replacement. Which is funny that they did it in that movie because, spoilers for Kong versus Godzilla, they give him a fucking heart resuscitation.
Yeah.
Guess that's the thing with Kong, he's got a bad ticker, maybe? I don't know. Or I guess he fought a fucking giant lizard, so fucking that would probably give anybody a heart attack. He's like, ah. Yeah, I mean, I'm always down for, like, older films that didn't always have, like, at the time, the best releases getting, like, like...
That's never been released outside of, like, a crappy DVD, like, probably 15 years ago.
Who's doing it? Shout Factory, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Every time, I don't think we can, like, give these people high enough praise. Shout Factory, if you haven't gone, go to their website. I mean, they're the same people. They have, like, Shout Factory and Shout Factory TV, Shout Factory, like, kids and anime, and they also do, like Scream Factory, which is, like, their horror section. But every time they re-release something, they almost always get everyone they can to, like, do a commentary of some sort. They uncover all kinds of, like, extra stuff, and,
Yeah, and I think they were, like, getting some flack for King Kong because it has so many new extras, but it's, like, interviews with random, like, crew members and stuff, and not any of the big stars or like that. So they're like, oh, great, an interview with the best boy. Nice.
the best boy. Well, we have the best boys, so they better interview one of them.
The Buddy Boys.
That's true. At least it's not a Brawny Lad. Those things are fucking gross.
But do you remember that movie? I think we watched it back in the day, like a long time ago.
Yeah, you were like definitely the first person I knew that was into King Kong. You were like huge into King Kong. You guys had a lot of the VHSs and stuff like that and DVDs when they finally came out. So, and Godzilla as well.
Yeah. Well, I love any movie where King Kong jumps across the World Trade Centers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only back in the day. So I don't know if I'll keep doing this, but I actually found one more news article. This is fucking...
Uh-oh.
This fucking shit. So there's a rumor that's been a couple sources, that have kind of talked about this. But it's talking about how with a Star Wars reboot, they're going to feature Rey's son. Like, she's going to have a son, but she's going to have a son through fucking, like, immaculate conception the way Anakin did, but it's, like, supposed to be that, like, the spirit of Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, is going to be the father by proxy because he, like, sacrificed his life for us. And I was like, that does not surprise me. That just sounds like the kind of, like, fan fiction shit writing that I expect from this era of, like, movies for Star Wars. Like, the TV shows have been great, but, like, it's just like the movies are on a completely different, like, level of, like, who's making them. It's just straight up like, let's see how outlandish we can get before people stop watching them. And people will never stop watching them, so it's just going to get worse and worse until, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish that everything wasn't linked to each other, like just make
movie with new
characters.
It's so ridiculous. Like, I think the issue is, like, I don't think there's anything else that we could really say more than we've already said about it. It's just kind of like, I think that's everybody that's watched the original trilogy has that same thing that they bring up, is like, at the end of the day, why does everybody have to know each other? Like, or why does everything have to be linked?
George Lucas started this whole thing by linking Luke and Leia.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so
and Darth Vader and Luke.
Yeah, he blew it.
What a fucking bastard! I think the worst, and I mean, I don't know. I like, in the prequels, it wasn't. I feel like there was only one thing that I thought was kind of like. I mean, even that was like whatever, but like, you know what I'm saying? Where like, fucking like, I mean, obviously, like, to me, it's not shocking that Obi-Wan knew Luke and Leia when they were kids, because, you could say that would make sense, because why would he be looking over them if he didn't know? Because he obviously knew Anakin. But, like, Yoda, like, hanging out with Chewbacca and shit was kind of like... I mean, I don't know. That's one of those things, though, where, like, the Wookiee planet was an actual planet, so it's not like he was out in the middle of nowhere and then fucking... You know what I mean? I don't know. It wasn't as bad in the prequels. There was stuff that were linked and stuff, but... Then it was literally everything was starting to... Like, they didn't, like, say, well, let's do our own thing after that. They were like, okay, well, let's have everything be linked. And let's have everybody, like... I don't know. Well, let's get on to something else before we fucking just spend the rest of the night talking about this worthless dog shit. Like we have many times. Recommendation Nation.
All right.
Ding.
Recommendation Nation.
You're never gonna be able to fucking top your fucking electrosonicized Daft Punk. Yeah. You were like, recommendation Nation. Or no, it was like recommendation. Fuck. Anyway. Okay, go ahead. I'll refer to you or defer to you.
All right. Well, my recommendation Nation is another a good Godzilla movie. Godzilla 1984, aka Godzilla 1985.
The Revenge.
But what that movie has that I enjoy are like top quality models and like animatronic. They made some animatronic Godzilla like robot, like a robot head, and just really cool special effects and stuff that still look really good to this day.
Hell yeah, dude.
Unlike movies that we might talk about.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for somebody to nominate one of those, so, right?
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. There's been a lot of really good ones. Yeah, I specifically remember. Is that one? Fuck, is that the Return of Godzilla, or is that?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it has a pretty horrific ending where like he falls into like a pit of hell and dies, and it's really sad.
Yeah, it's. I think I remember like some of the really, really awesome ones too. Like that one was great, but I remember definitely like when I finally saw like Godzilla Final Wars, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, that one's out of control.
That one was like because I think that was like before they came back and did like Shin Godzilla. They were like, we're going out on this for like until we yeah. I was like, holy fuck.
Throw everything but the kitchen sink at it.
Right. They even had like the new Godzilla or whatever, which he like just swats away, I think.
The American Godzilla.
Yeah, and it like in 5 seconds, and I was like, well, I'm like, that's a slap in the face to American Godzilla.
Matthew Broderick's gonna be upset.
Yeah.
And I don't. Daddy.
That just reminded me of when we went to that convention with what's his name? The guy that was like, oh my, like he was kind of the big.
George Takei.
Yeah, Takei, and what's his name? He was the guy that was I guess he was in that animated movie. Fuck, I can't remember her name, but it's like, you know what I'm talking about? We walked into that thing and that little girl was like, how do you feel now that like, or how do you feel that like being like in a Disney movie, like, and it was like, not Thumbelina, but like the movie, the movie that's got like Christopher Lloyd in it, but it's like,
is it John Cusack?
Yeah, John Cusack, and the movie was based on the Russian princess or whatever. Like,
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Dude, that was hilarious.
But he's like, well, actually, that's a Fox movie, and everybody's like, well, Disney owns Fox now. But it was like some nerd like stood up for this little girl and was like, actually, Disney owns Fox now, so technically, like, she's right. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. But it's like, why did you fucking argue with the little kid? Like, she was just asking, like, how it felt to be in a Disney princess movie, and instead of, like,
classic jerk moment.
Right, I was like, fuck this asshole, dude. Like, I don't know.
That was... I totally forgot about that.
Should have fucking pulled a fucking thing off the wall and smashed his head in, like, high fidelity. I'm like, yo, I'm like, get him! So,
should have thrown him out of a plane like Con Air.
I know, right? So nothing to do with John Cusack, but my recommendation is a game that you definitely know. I'm like, you know it. That's it. See you later. You have to guess. If you don't remember, I'll see you later. It is what we know in the States as Twin Sins Odyssey, but is actually the second of a game series called Little Big Adventure. And they actually, I didn't know this, but the other day, randomly, I went on Steam, and it's fucking on Steam, both of them. Like, I think you can get both of them for less than $10.
Whoa.
Yeah, because they did, like, I guess a remake, not a remake, but it's like a remaster that they put on, like, phones for the first one. And they re-released. I think it was because good old games like GOG, like kind of did that, like how they did like Strife and a bunch of other games that weren't available. Yeah. But like now all that stuff is on Steam as well. So like, yeah, Twins. I mean, that's another game too. I definitely suggest, but like, in Stone Keep. But
Stone Keep.
You know what's funny is I actually went on and saw the people that did like the voices for Stone Keep, and dude, a lot of those people are like the same people that did like the voices for like Lupin dubs back in the day, like Lupin the Third and stuff. So like the main guy that does like Drake, like Tony Oliver does like Lupin, and then Farley, I think that's like the dwarf. It's like the guy that does like the second guy, Jigen, and then the Wahuka, that's the guy that does the voice for fucking Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
Really?
Yeah. It's so funny to like look at all these like older like voice actors that were in this. Rob Paulson that does like Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, like does fucking, I guess like a couple voices. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. I don't even know if some of these people are alive though, because it would be awesome to like get a poster and have these people sign it, but like it's like I don't even know if these people do conventions anymore.
Huh.
I'd love to get
that's cool.
a poster signed by Wahuka. That'd be legit.
Good luck finding a Wahuka poster.
Yeah, I'd probably just have to find a Stone Keep poster. I just print out a fucking super stretched
go
out.
Walmart and go to the Spencer's Gifts and go to the poster section.
I'm like, do you guys have Wahuka posters?
They're like, get out of here.
AK rip off Yoda. It's like, okay. Also, that guy gave me the fucking shits.
Anyone else in the country knows who Wahuka is, I'll give him $100.
Yeah, seriously. If you can't look it up, but fucking yeah, Wahuka, dude, fucking. But anyway, yeah, little
Not even to speak of Cool Coom.
Yeah, Cool Coom. I'll come, Cool Coom. I'll come. But Twinson's Odyssey, yeah, that game's legit. It's like a isometric action adventure game. And there's kind of like a leveling up thing in it, but not really. It's like the only way you kind of get leveling up is by getting better stuff in the game. So, and originally...
And you can go on quests and stuff, like search for the desert balsam.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, like, I remember in that game they had, like...
what is the line?
It's like, for the test of the desert balsam, you must find me a desert balsam. Hello, Tim.
Best line ever.
Hello, Twinson.
Hello, Tim.
It's like, Von Frock, I'm going to take you out, and I don't mean for pizza. It's like, what? Why would you think that? But, yeah.
I never beat that game. At one point, it became too hard, and I couldn't finish it.
I beat it, but I'm going to try... I think I'm going to try to do, like, a stream of it and try to, like, play it again. And I'll probably not be able to beat it. It'll probably take me forever, because I know that, like, back then I had way more patience, and I probably was better. So, like, now I'll probably be like, fuck. But, we'll see. Definitely,
cool.
I'll definitely play it.
That's a great recommendation, Nation.
Hell yeah. So let's go on to... Actually, before we do that, give me 1 second here, because I have some stuff here, some facts, if you will.
Cool. I can't wait to get into the main topic, Midnight Meat Train.
Dude, if that was like serious, I'd be like, oh shit. Yeah, so this was supposed to be Midnight Meat Train, but we switched because you had actually kind of started watching the movie Godzilla vs. Kong, and then you were like, actually, can we just like do Godzilla vs. Kong? I'd already seen it
before it became a topic, so.
Oh, nice. I really wanted to watch it. It just, like, you know what I mean?
So.
Yeah, so I'm an asshole. But,
what are we gonna talk about?
What was that?
Nothing.
Oh. Nothing, really? You don't have anything to say about yourself? Or for yourself? About yourself? Matt, you don't have anything to say about yourself? What are you thinking?
Or for myself.
Well, either way. Get naked. So let me pull up this list here. I've got actually some, like I said, some facts about all the different like stuff for Godzilla. So, and then King Kong. So there were, let's see here, 32 Godzilla films, including Godzilla vs. Kong. And so Godzilla's first appearance was 1954, and with a movie called Godzilla, that was titled pretty well. And then Godzilla Raids Again. And the third one they did actually was King Kong vs. Godzilla in 1962. And
this is what we're going to talk about this week.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, spoilers, there are some things that happen in this movie that they did in the original to a degree. Which,
oh, nice.
So, yeah. Anyway, so 1962 and then 2021, they made fucking another one for Godzilla vs. King Kong. I'm kind of surprised it took them this long to do another one, because I feel like the idea is just there. It's kind of like, why wouldn't you? But anyway, then they did a bunch of other ones. Mothra vs. Godzilla. Ghidorah made his appearance, the three-headed monster. Invasion of Astro Monster. Ibera, Horror of the Deep. Or Horror, not Horror of the Deep. Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, All Monsters Attack, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and then Terror of Mechagodzilla. And then they started a new era with the return of Godzilla, with the one you were talking about, 1984. Godzilla vs. Biollante, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah versus Mothra versus Mechagodzilla 2 versus Space Godzilla versus Desoroya. I always thought Space Godzilla was kind of cool because he was like a more badass version of Godzilla. Like he was like
and he
huge,
was just hanging out in space.
Yeah. And then that was the end of that era, and they started the Millennium era. Godzilla 2000, that was the one I think we saw in theaters, and they like dubbed it like a madman, and it was ridiculous.
Great Caesar's go.
Yeah. Godzilla versus Megagyrus. Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. Giant monsters all out attack. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Godzilla Tokyo SOS. Godzilla Final Wars. And then that kind of brings us up to like the present day with like Shin Godzilla, which was put out by Funimation. And then now there's like exclusive Netflix ones. Like there's the animated, I think they're all animated actually, I'm looking at it here. But it's like Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle, and Godzilla the Planet Eater. And then the American ones, of course, we have the Godzilla one, whereas I think that's probably the smallest Godzilla to date, but it was the Roland Emmerich 1998 one. And then Godzilla with Kick-Ass as the main lead, and the switch out Bryan Cranston. And then Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then Godzilla vs. Kong came out this year. So, for King Kong, there are far fewer movies, surprisingly. But, go ahead.
I have to comment on
go ahead.
one, because I find this so hilarious.
Yeah, go for it.
Godzilla Raids Again, the second one, features, like, probably the worst screw-up in, like, movie history. Because all of the monster footage...
Yeah.
They tried to like shoot it in slow motion, which they normally do, right, to try to make the creatures look like they're bigger.
Right.
But whoever was in charge of that screwed up, and they shot everything in fast motion. And they didn't realize it until like it was 100% complete. So all of the monster action is in fast motion in that movie, and it's like how like they should have just threw it away and gave up.
So it's like so Monster terrible. Style.
Yeah.
Entertaining. Yeah, one of the funny things about actually about I'm like, it's hilarious, but I think about the first one is that like the first one was like, so like it was more so kind of like serious and stuff, and like more so about like the kind of shit to do with like, I think like nuclear crap, right? And like the horrors of like what could be created from that, and like a bunch of other stuff. But like when it came out over here, it was dubbed, and they added in like a bunch of like random shots with like I don't know what the guy's name is, but it's like a white actor,
Raymond Burr.
Yeah, to like make it seem like he was in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. I mean, I think at the time
He's
it was
standing around in the background of every scene.
Right, to like make I guess it to make it more like appealing to like a US audience.
Oh yeah.
But
back then it would be unthinkable to like
release
a movie in the US.
Yeah, Japanese film, even dubbed, yeah. But like now it's like completely the opposite. Like if they had done something like that, holy fuck, dude. They would catch major shit for that. Like
yeah.
Which, I mean, rightfully so.
Progress.
Yeah.
Like, as bad as things are.
Yeah. But yeah.
Could be worse.
What do you think about that? That's kind of weird.
Well, they did the same thing with Return of Godzilla 20 years later, or 30 years later, which I always found funny.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, what the fuck? But they restored, not restored it, but they came out with a version that's like the original. So it's not like, you can't ever watch that version.
Yeah, and I'm gonna criticize Godzilla vs. Kong, but
I will too. Yeah.
I feel bad doing that because like almost all the Godzilla movies are also very silly and contain like laughable human characters. So in a way, it fits right in.
Yeah, I've actually, I'm definitely gonna get into that as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and go down the movies here for King Kong. So like the first Godzilla movie, 1954. The first King Kong movie, 1933. That's fucking ridiculous. But it was I think a lot of people, especially at the time,
still holds up.
Yeah, when they saw that movie though, they were like shitting their fucking pants. Like, holy fuck. Of course, this was when King Kong was a lot smaller, but he's a lot bigger than a human, so it, it's still like holy shit. But so the first movie, King Kong, it's a pretty legendary film. Son of Kong came out that same year.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then they made King Kong vs. Godzilla like almost 60 years later. Or 60, Jesus! Yeah, so 1962 from 1933. I am fucking shocked. I guess it goes to show how out of ideas Hollywood is, that they, like, these days they would have made like 50 King Kong movies, but like, well, kind of, I don't know, because like King Kong by Peter Jackson came out in 2005, and then like the most notable one after that was Kong Skull Island in 2017. So it's not like they made it again like right away. What is that, like a 12-year span?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that's definitely less than 30 years, but and then King Kong escapes. King Kong lives. The Mighty Kong, King of Atlantis. King Kong 05. Kong, Return to the Jungle. Kong, Skull Island. Godzilla vs. Kong. You know what's funny is like these King Kong movies are all like King Kong or like a play on King or Kong. And Godzilla, it's like every fucking movie is like versus. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay guys, fuck off. I'm like, fuck off with the titles, baby. Yeah. So
why wasn't this one Godzilla vs. King Kong? Like, did he lose his status?
Well, because they had to keep the they had to keep the King part for the shitty tagline. Kong versus King. I'm like, what kind of a fight is that? A king's gonna get raped by a god. What are you talking about?
But if Godzilla's king of the monsters, so they're both kings. It's a battle of kings. King v king.
Yeah, but king's not in his name. But God is. You can't spell king without Kong. And you can't spell God without Zilla.
Kill to be a god. Be
for even 3 seconds.
Just for a moment.
Yeah. Lex Luthor's the real villain in this movie. Okay.
Most insane line ever.
Such a great speech. I was like, whoa. So, Godzilla versus King Kong, or Godzilla versus Kong. I don't know what, like, I agree with you. I don't know why they dropped the King part, because Godzilla is two syllables. Kong is one. So Godzilla versus King Kong. Why is it like Godzilla versus Kong? They're like, we can't. They also had to stretch out Kong's name to like for the verses below Godzilla. So I don't know. Maybe they were like, fuck King Kong. Is I guess probably because nobody really calls him King Kong in the movie. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, this movie came out this year. It's an American monster film directed by Adam Wingard. A sequel to both Godzilla King of the Monsters and Kong.
It wasn't.
Wait, what?
It was directed by concept artist and computer
animators. Well, yeah, true. And Kong's... No, it wasn't! I was like, wait, shit, what happened here? No, it wasn't!
Also, you should mention it's an animated film.
Mostly.
Yeah.
It's like Roger Rabbit. In Kong Skull Island, it is the 4th film in the legendary MonsterVerse.
Legendary.
And Legendary's MonsterVerse, I should say. It's not that the MonsterVerse is legendary by any means.
Legendary.
You actually stole my joke already for one of my...
Sorry.
That's okay. That was one of my things. The Legendary logo came up, and I said, Legendary logo. I'm like...
It should, dub that over the title.
Don't call us apes! Well, then don't ape! It's also the 36th film in the Godzilla franchise, and the 12th film in the King Kong franchise. And the 4th Godzilla to be completely produced by a Hollywood studio! In the film, Kong clashes with Godzilla as humans lure the giant ape into the hollow earth to retrieve a power source for a weapon to stop Godzilla's mysterious rampages. With the world still shaken from the battle between Ghidorah and Godzilla, humanity has begun to try and coexist with the Titans. But after Godzilla begins his own reign of terror, humanity must call on another legend to stop him, Kong. Not everything is as it seems, though, when Monarch travels to Skull Island, where a mysterious young girl known to communicate with Kong must warn him of the impending danger. As Godzilla rages across nations, destroying everything in his path. Not quite. The fate of the world is in the hands of these two legendary titans, as both Kong and Godzilla battle for the right of king, and to stop the real threat that faces them, Mechagodzilla, controlled by King Ghidorah. Okay, so... yeah, I actually had to add some of that, because all the synopses, it was either go with, a 5-hour-long fucking point-by-point recreation of the movie, which I was like, fuck that, or take the synopsis, the thing they would put on the back of a movie, without spoiling it, and then kind of add spoilers at the end, because none of them brought up Mechagodzilla. It's like, I'm pretty sure everybody knew that was going to happen, and it did, so. So, yeah, this...
What'd you think?
I thought that, the Godzilla versus Kong stuff was definitely legit. It was fine. I don't know how much I want to get into it until you say what you gotta say, because there's definitely a shit ton I want to say about this movie. It's just, You know what I mean? Like, I'll say that if you like monster movies, like fights and stuff, I would definitely say watch this movie. But there is like a caveat to that though, and it goes along with what you were saying about like the Godzilla films having shitty fucking human characters.
Yeah.
It's funny because this film definitely feels like they did a good job of making it, I feel like, one film, but it's definitely two films stitched together. And they kind of finally become one film towards the end. But more so because of Kong and Godzilla, you know, becoming fighting and stuff. But which is, you know, what it is, I guess. What about you? What do you...
Well, I'm going to try not to be too negative.
No, I mean, go for it. Like I said, I'm going to get into a bunch of shit that I liked and a lot of shit I didn't like, too, about this movie, but... Just,
It's just, like you said, like, King Kong and Godzilla movies are, like, some of the reasons why I started liking movies in the first place. So
right.
Seeing them in a movie, like, it's hard for me to say that this movie's not, you know, that I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets away from why I like these movies in the first place. Like it's all computer. It's a cutscene. Like all the Godzilla versus Kong action is cutscenes, which, like, yeah, that there's some cool images, I guess, but it does nothing for me. And then the scenes with the humans contain like some of the worst writing and acting like I've ever seen. Like these people should be ashamed of themselves.
It's pretty much like Godzilla 98. It's pretty bad. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will have to say
that least that movie, they threw actual cars around and like they built a giant Godzilla foot, you know, and like there are some practical effects mixed in with the CGI, so it's not just completely animated. Yeah,
that's true. I will have to say that this movie is probably, you might disagree with this, but this is like probably the best of the 3 Godzilla US movies they've done, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, but that's like saying it's like the least disgusting like trash bag full of
but
vomit.
Do you know what that is? It's not because of Godzilla. It's because King Kong. Like, my favorite parts of this movie was when King Kong was on film, because like
yeah, I agree.
It's funny because King Kong has like the best character throughout, like, in this entire thing, because he's an actual like relatable character, and like,
oh yeah, totally.
Godzilla,
one of the best characters ever.
Godzilla's just like a force. So it's like, and it's like I do kind of wish like there was more Godzilla in this movie when it's like Kong versus Godzilla, because he's literally the only time he shows up is to destroy these facilities, and which you find out later, you know, that's the only reason why he's like even attacking, you know, places, is to destroy these facilities that are like trying to create a better version of him to like take him out.
Yeah, and the last movie, Godzilla King of the Monsters, like that was way worse than this.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that was cool about it is they introduced like a ton of more monsters besides Godzilla.
Yeah, like the Titans.
The very final shot is like they're all bowing down to him as like the king. But then in this movie, like they're all dead, so we never get to see him really.
Well, they're not. Yeah, they're like nowhere to be seen, which I thought was kind of like.
And it was a lot of the classic like creatures that Godzilla fought over like in the old movies, but it did make a couple new dudes, and one was like kind of a monkey slash with a woolly mammoth.
I think he said,
I want to see that dude.
They're gonna say a monkey with a walker. I was
even better.
It's Cranky Kong.
Like a 2-legged woolly mammoth.
Yeah, I looked up all this stuff, and there was like, there's that one which was like Behemoth. There was one that was like a Cthulhu spider thing that would like help like they were pretty much like titans that were like benevolent for the most part, and help like restore the balance to the earth, like, you know, get rid of like toxins. And at the end of like the last Godzilla movie, they were like, all of the Titans were going to go to Skull Island. But then when, like, this movie opens up, Skull Island is, like, perpetually in, like, a fucking, like, you know, like, it's perpetually being uninhabitable because of a storm. So, like, I guess they just said, fuck that idea. So...
yeah, pretty much.
Because, I mean, also, I mean, like, they did a thing, I guess, where, like, Godzilla, you find out, or not Godzilla, but King Kong wasn't done growing. Because, like, he was in this inhabited area, and he was, like, continually growing, apparently. Because, like, in this movie, he's, like, tall enough to fight Godzilla. More so, like, they kind of just gave him a little bit of a booster in this movie, which is, I didn't have a problem with. It was just kind of
cool. They did make the size of the creatures like the hugest ever.
Right.
Movies.
I agree with you. I kind of wish. I mean, it was obviously like the big thing about this was Godzilla versus Kong, but would have been nice to at least see like maybe like one of the Titans had gone and like became friends with King Kong and was on the island or something. You know what I mean? Like, because King Kong doesn't seem like a character that like straight up like wanted to like fight other, you know, people. He like other monsters unless they like came
he
after
wants to be
him.
left alone.
Right. So like, yeah. So I did some like looking in and stuff, some research to see what other people said about this movie after I had like wrote all my notes. And
I have one really good one, but
okay.
Yeah, I'm
so sadly we can't get Ebert or Roper or like fucking Siskel's review on this, but I looked at some videos and like one of the comments kind of took me by surprise. It was like by a reviewer on IGN, so take that for what you will. But when talking about like the humans in this film, the person said like, Josh, the undisputed best character in this movie. And I was like, what?
Who's Josh? I don't even know who that is.
He's the fucking like guy that sounds like
I couldn't name a single human character.
Brent and Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords.
Okay.
Like he's like from New Zealand, it sounds like, and he's like the Asian kid. The guy that was like 11 from Stranger Things, bitch.
Okay.
Like,
yep.
The most annoying character in the movie, I felt. Like, out of the three of them, he was probably the worst. And that's saying a lot because, like, So, as bad as all the characters were, all of the characters in the Godzilla side were the worst. Like, their characters to me were, like, it reminded me of, like, the worst kind of stuff they have in, Transformers movies, like the crackpot, like comic relief, like just this does not belong in this movie kind of shit. And, like, we're putting these characters in here to make people laugh, but people aren't laughing. They're just like,
yeah, it's a mix of that and also like the most deadly serious stuff,
right?
Which to me that's even worse,
right?
But
yeah,
they fail like at both like tones.
It's so it's like, okay, so like. The Godzilla section, they've got 11 from Stranger Things. They've got Josh, the character.
Well, speaking of her, like, I've never seen Stranger Things. I'm sure she's good in it, but like in these Godzilla movies, she's like embarrassingly bad.
Yeah.
And it's not all her fault. Obviously, the director failed and the writers, failed. But my favorite criticism that I heard was Jay from Red Letter Media.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch their review?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Oh man, it's so good. But he was like, anytime Millie Bobby Brown shows up, just start checking your email.
Yeah, well, honestly, anytime that section, that part of the movie would happen, I was like, I'm gonna
fast forward.
And it's honestly it starts off on the worst foot possible because it's this one character that's like this conspiracy dude that has a podcast, and it's the most annoying shit of all time. And it's
yeah,
like,
it really is.
Oh my god, he's doing this fucking horrible stand-up routine. Like, nobody gives a fuck. Like, shut up. And then, like, she treks across the country to go find him, and then she finally finds him, and they all, like, hang out at, like, a noodle shop, and, like, he tells his sob story about how his wife died, and, like, I'm supposed to give a fuck about this character, but I don't. Like, dude, you've been annoying the whole movie, and you're taking time away from the Godzilla, or
Valuable monster time.
Right, Godzilla, or even time with, like, Kong and his team, because anytime, that's the problem, is like whenever Kong like team is there, they're interacting with their monster. Nobody on the Godzilla team is ever really interacting with Godzilla. So it's like you've got team like Godzilla, but they're really nowhere near Godzilla. And even if like you don't really like the King Kong characters, they're at least like around King Kong, and they're like, you know, it's like Mighty Joe Young. They're like communicating and they're with him. So it's like you get to see King Kong do shit. Godzilla, they're like, we gotta save Godzilla. He's being fucking persecuted and shit. And I'm like, I don't think Godzilla needs anybody's help. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, this is bullshit. Godzilla didn't do this fucking for no good reason. I'm like,
Godzilla's hurting people and we don't know why.
Well, they were like, yeah, it was like, Godzilla's doing this, Godzilla's doing that. That's bullshit. He wouldn't do this for no reason. And I'm like, well, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, who gives a fuck? So who do you think is the like best human character in this movie? I'm gonna ask that question.
Dude, like, I'm gonna have a stroke if I have to think about that. Like,
I honestly, you know what's funny? This might
maybe
be
the evil villain. Like,
I was gonna say,
he was fine.
Honestly, I liked the kid that couldn't even talk. Because
you might be right.
Because honestly, like, she was like a pretty great actor just by not saying anything, and I liked, as corny as it seems, I actually liked
the rest of the characters would have not talked.
I actually liked the whole idea of like Kong learning sign language in this movie. Like, I thought that was kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah. I was just horrified that like they let her in.
Well, you know what's funny is like, yeah, I was gonna say like the thing that surprised me was that like when her like mom was like, I didn't know you knew how to do that. I'm like, what? So you were just letting her in to hang out with King Kong, exactly. And you didn't know that she could communicate with him? Like, he just
sending her to her death.
Right. Well, randomly he would never hurt her. He always like liked her and stuff. So I guess they were just like, well, she's got some way of communicating. It's like, I mean, that kind of goes along with the whole thing with like little girls or little kids with Godzilla. You know, him always being like, oh, or Mothra, which I'm totally fine with. It's fine, but especially when they right, which is like, I'm fine, especially when they like. This is probably the best way they've ever done it, because like King Kong is like the smartest. You know, he's like, you know, just a really big fucking ape. So he's like definitely smarter, or should be smarter than Godzilla or any other monster because of his brain size. But like, so
don't you think if they had the technology to simulate his entire island, couldn't they like make a hologram of that girl so she wouldn't have to like go in there and be subject to like get killed?
Well, yeah, that, and if they had the technology to simulate the inside of that island, why couldn't they just fucking build it around the entire island, or just undo the damage that's being done to the island? They obviously were able to like make that specific part be okay.
Yeah.
It's not like they just like put the dome over it and then it automatically was fine. Like, they obviously knew how to like rejuvenate what part of the island got fucked up. So so I actually found this out too, and it was kind of bittersweet, but apparently like, because I watched the AVGN James Rolfe review of this, and he said that he actually, like, he knows the director, and he was actually set to have a cameo in this film, but like by the time it happened, he had to turn it down because his daughter was about to be born. So he was gonna have like a part in this movie.
That would have been great.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, even if it was just like him, but like, can you imagine if like shit's going down and they just cut to like AVGN and he's like giving his face? He's like, I'd be like, holy shit, there's a fucking ape! It's a fucking Godzilla. So I was gonna say starting off, but we already talked about other stuff. But like, the HBO app gave me a fucking can't play this movie 4 times, and it eventually fucking slowed its roll. But it was like, God, dude, come on, get your shit together, man. I just had to say something about that because
they should have just released this video on VH or released this movie on VHS. You don't have that problem.
I would just fucking have to pop in 10 VHSs. I don't know why I wrote this as a note. Somewhere on Skull Island. Yep, true.
Somewhere. Okay.
So yeah, Kong was laying down and they played crooner songs as he like took a shower and like stripped a tree and threw it at a fucking wall. What'd you think about like every time fucking King Kong, like at a certain point would do something, they would play some song? Like he had like theme songs throughout the movie.
It was a little bit distracting.
It was a little, yeah, I thought that was kind of like when he like, somebody pointed out that actually like during this part, his morning routine almost mirrors Shrek's morning routine. And I was like,
they probably used like the same previs, like algorithms.
The same pre-jizz.
All these movies are the same.
Yeah.
What do you think of the music choices?
I thought the choices were fun. You mean like for Kong?
Yeah, that they would have like songs.
Yeah,
a score or something else.
I thought it was fine because honestly, King Kong in this movie, as weird as this sounds, this is like a human to a degree. He's got, you know what I mean? Like I feel like he's an actual, like we were saying, a character. So like, I'm fine with them giving him stuff. Like if they had done that with Godzilla, I would have been like, eh. Because like Godzilla is just like,
they should have played the Blue Oyster Cult song,
dude, for King Kong. I'd be like, what? He comes out and he's like, wah, like plays it on a guitar. I'm like, what? There was a part at the very beginning where they were going through like the redacted stuff where they showed all these monsters, and they showed, I guess like ancient enemies like Godzilla's race and King Kong's race used to fight each other. And they showed a fucking drawing of them, like an ancient drawing, and they looked goofier than shit. They were like, doo. I was like, okay, dude, like, I also thought it was really funny how, like, this is really the only movie I think I've ever watched that actually talked about the Hollow Earth. I was like, theory or whatever, that, like, I'm kind of surprised they didn't do that for one of the, I'm sure that'll be in the next Indiana Jones movie, Hollow Earth.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, I know, right?
As long as they bring back Mutt.
As long as they bring back the milking. I will have to give this movie credit though for the opening credits, because I like that it pretty much recapped a bunch of shit, and they even brought they used like a voice clip from John Goodman talking about like Skull Island and stuff, and I just like that they kind of showed like, hey, you know, this is what happened in the last movies for King Kong, this is what happened in the last movies for like Godzilla. Like, you really don't have to worry about the first movie, like, for Godzilla. But, like, check out this shit. And,
I was hoping they'd bring back John C. Reilly.
Dude, seriously. By this point, he's like 1,000 years old, though, right?
So what?
So what? Bring his bones in.
Yeah.
So apparently Godzilla is no longer a Titan savior. I wrote that down because I thought that was hilarious. Because it was, like, paper swirling. Godzilla no longer Titan savior. Like, who the fuck had to write that? Like,
seriously.
You
mentioned the Hollow Earth. Like, what did you think of the Hollow Earth sequence?
I thought it was like kind of cool, honestly. Like, I liked it because it was literally.
I did too. It was my favorite. It was my favorite.
Yeah,
part of the movie.
I mean, anything to do with Kong was like awesome. Kong anytime.
Also, they brought in a different score where it was like kind of synthesizer-y.
Right.
Part. I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was really
like,
interesting.
Totally fantastical.
Right, because it actually was like a hero's journey kind of thing with King Kong.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he just really wants to be left alone, but like once Godzilla starts fucking with like his friends or like things that like, you know, like, because Godzilla starts coming for him, so he has to defend himself. So it's pretty much like
Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you.
Right, he just didn't have any choice. So I will have to say in the beginning, I wrote these movies are reminding me of the Transformers films so far, not good. And that was when like that black dude character that's like the conspiracy nut was like fucking going into overdrive with his fucking like stand-up bullshit. And I was like, he reminded me of that character from like the Transformers movies that was in like Don't Mess with the Zohan. You know what I'm talking about? Like John Turturro maybe, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
Like, I like that actor, but it was like in those movies it was like, dude, come the fuck on, man. Like, what's with the conspiracy shit? Like, Godzilla fucking exists. Why is there a conspiracy? Everybody knows he's around. Like, come on. Like, he's like, oh, there's a fucking nefarious... How did he even get access to this shit? Like, people just didn't give a fuck. He's just like, okay. But 2 location changes in 3 minutes. That was legit. I put that down because I was like... At the beginning of this movie, they were like, flopping all over the place. I feel like as this movie went on, though, they like settled into a rhythm. It was just like, whenever it went back to the Godzilla team, I was like you were saying, like, check your email. Like... And honestly, I wrote that they could have cut a bit off the beginning of this movie for sure. Because, like, there was all kinds of changes, but they could have just started where, like, the dude comes in to, like, ask her to take Godzilla, or to take King Kong to, like, the Hollow Earth. Or something. Because some of that shit was just, like I said, like, all the Godzilla stuff was, like, totally unneeded.
What do you think about this? What if they had removed all of the human characters?
Mm-hmm.
And this was literally like a silent film about 2 monsters fighting.
I mean, I think it worked pretty well with, like, Final Wars, because there was barely any shit in that movie from what I remember. It was all Godzilla fighting people.
And they did have, like, some Matrix ripoff stuff.
Right. Right. Well, yeah. But, like, I mean, that was, like, top cheese factor in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
But it was more entertaining than this, some of this shit, so. I understand that, like, humans have to be a part of it, and honestly, like to get things going to a degree, because it's kind of hard. Like, if they had never moved King Kong, like, Godzilla would have never came for him. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they could have just, like, I don't know. I think my favorite part of this movie is when King Kong and Godzilla actually team up at the end versus Mechagodzilla. Because, like, to me, I never wanted to see King Kong actually kill Godzilla or vice versa. I wanted to see King Kong and Godzilla actually...
He just rips his head off at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, it's all backwards. They killed him in the first act. What's with this? You know what I mean? It's like...
How you sleeping good?
How you kaijuing good?
How you fighting good?
I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think that's stupid? Or, I mean, it's just kind of like my thing is, like, I guess I understand, like, King Kong versus Godzilla, that's a huge thing, but at the same time, I liked it more when they were, like... Because I always like it when Godzilla has, like, allies, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's cool when he teams up with, like, Mothra, or, like, that little bitch spiny guy, fucking Agorist, or whatever, right?
And then one of them, they actually speak English to each other. You remember that?
Yeah.
Come on, Agorist. Let's go fight Mothra. I'm like, that's the voice you came up with?
Yeah. God. Dr. Lund, I put, is dressed like MacGruber in this fucking movie. I don't know if you saw that. I was like, what the fuck?
That character would have fit in right in a MacGruber movie.
Oh my god, dude. But, yeah, I think, yeah, totally, like, I feel like King Kong versus Godzilla, like I like the idea of them, like, teaming up, like, and I like how, like, you know, we've already got into spoilers, but at the end when, like, King Kong and Godzilla, like, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, Kong is, like, you know, like, he doesn't bow, but he, like, Godzilla is, like, you know, I'm the king. And King Kong's like, yeah, whatever, that's fine, I don't give a fuck, and he just kind of, like, walks off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're not necessarily best friends, but they're, like, at an understanding. So, I definitely could see where, like, this could go, you know, where, like, because they need to bring in more Godzilla villains. Definitely. Like, I want to see Godzilla and Kong team up and take on, like, a shit ton of fucking Godzilla villains. Like, that's really the next step for me. If they're going to do another one of these, just...
Or create some new cool ones.
Yeah, do Final Wars and just bring all the Godzilla
his name is.
fucking villains out and, like, rip them up. And have, like, bring out a Mecha Ghidorah and stuff. Like, come on, dude, just fucking
Mecha Kong.
Yeah, bring it all out. Like, seriously, like, have the two of them go all out and, like, team up and do all kinds of cool shit. But, like, and Mothra,
you could shoot them into space and send them to other planets.
Send them to fucking hell. Shoot them to the sun and kill them.
Godzilla in hell.
That comic or whatever. It's like, what? He's like, he's in hell. Godzilla's like, what?
That was awesome.
It's like the idea that, though, it's like, so what? I don't understand. Like, he's in hell, but it's like...
Well, it's almost as good as when he fought Charles Barkley.
And raped him.
Sir Charles.
I put this Godzilla storyline sucks. I will not get any disagreements on that, I'm pretty sure.
Put that on a poster.
Kong jumped off the aircraft carrier in slow-mo to an explosion. I was, like, cracking up. I was like... This is, like... Fucking
like the
Lethal
the
Weapon
concept
style.
Artists that came up with that should be congratulated. Like, nice work.
Skull crawlers, which I had to write down because I was like, I forgot what those fucking even were. But they were using like those things that were in Kong Skull Island. A much better film than any of the Godzilla films that have been made recently by the U.S. Actually, I'd say that like Kong Skull Island is better than any of the U.S. King Kong movies, Godzilla movies that have ever been made.
I might agree with you on that one.
Yeah. I agree with most of that.
I'll always have a soft spot for the Godzilla 1998.
I hate it.
Even though it's pretty terrible.
Yeah. It's definitely a product of its time. That's for damn sure.
Oh, yeah, big time. But that Puff Daddy song, come on.
Yeah, the only good thing about it.
Come with me.
Come on me.
I want to fight you. I want to bite you.
Fuck me up.
Can't stand nobody like you.
Come on me. Mechagodzilla. So, like, Mechagodzilla gets shown in this movie, and they, like, instantly ruin it with the fucking comedy bitches, because they were like... The one dude says, like, oh shit, it's fucking Robo-Godzilla, and the little, like, bitch guy says, like, no, that's Mega-Godzilla, or Mecha-Godzilla. What the fuck, dude?
Delete
like,
that scene.
Shut the fuck up. Who cares?
Delete that scene now.
Why does anybody have to say anything about it? Like,
I know.
They should be like, holy fuck. Like, they were scared. The audience
isn't gonna know what it is unless they say that. Right?
They were, like, slipping on banana peels and throwing fucking pies at each other while saying it. I was like, cool.
That would have been better.
I mean, that's pretty much what happened. Because it was literally fucking joke. They just almost got reamed by a fucking skull crusher or whatever the fuck they're called. Skull crawler. And, like, should have been horrified, but instead, like, they're fucking making jokes over here. It's like,
so what was... I didn't understand, like, the soul of King Ghidorah somehow took control of Mechagodzilla?
Yeah, I think... Well, so, like, I don't really know. This is just my theory, but, like... Insane. I said that because, like, I think it's pretty obvious that, like, you know, they were using King Ghidorah, one of his heads, to, well, they had two of them. One was in the mech, and one of them was in, like, the booth that the dude used to control it. And they explained to the audience by fucking one of the Godzilla characters saying, "Oh, King Ghidorah, he's got such a long neck that he had to, like, psychically talk to the other three brains on each head to tell them what to do." And I was like, pretty sure a creature that is that, like, if it's evolved to have three heads, it wouldn't try to go for a fucking, like, supernatural power before it tried to, like, come up with a better... You know what I mean? Like, a more logical way to, like, evolve. You know what I mean? Like, if a giraffe had three heads, it wouldn't be like, in the evolution line, be like, I'm going to try to create something that's never been created, a fucking psychic power. Or I'll just make a quicker way.
To communicate, the giraffe had to create a computer.
Right!
Instant message its other head.
I was like, or... it would just fucking, like, be able to relay the signals to each other through evolutionary processes. It's like, oh my god. But anyway, like, so, like, they can communicate with each other, and I guess even though it's just a skull, they can still do it. And, so they put all this power into it from the core of the earth. Because all they needed was... They didn't need the substance, they just needed the formula, and then they could recreate the fucking... like, the substance? And I'm like, if that's the case, why didn't somebody try to get close to Godzilla and just take a piece off of his scale? Because that's all they really needed, was that shit that, like, is the same stuff that's on his back. Because then they could just recreate the fucking, like... formula for the energy, you know what I mean? I thought they needed a bunch of stuff.
Thinking about all those details, like,
well, it was just it was so beyond the like, why would you send an entire team down there to get not like a bunch of it, but all you needed was to analyze it? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't make sense. I thought they were gonna have to grab a shit ton of it and bring it back, and then they would have to keep going and getting it, but it was literally, no, you just need to know, like, what it's made of, and then you can instantly no issues at all with replicating the strongest fuel on the earth now. Like, okay. But, like, so they overload Mechagodzilla with this, like, shit, because they were only able to get it to 40%. And so when they do that, it, like, shorts out the fucking thing and, like, electrocutes the fucking pilot. And then, like, the combined AI and Mechagodzilla, or the combined AI of Mechagodzilla with the psychic powers of fucking King Ghidorah take control. And they go after King Kong. Actually, they don't. They go after Godzilla. And Godzilla gets his ass fucking handed to him. Like, it's not even a contest. Like, Mechagodzilla is just whooping his fucking ass. And then King Kong, like, gets revived and helps out Godzilla, because the deaf girl tells him...
with the help of his magical axe.
Yes! Oh, yeah, I forgot to say that. He found an axe in the center of the earth that his species used to fight Godzilla's with. I'm not making this up. This happened in the movie. And he, like, had, like, a Thor fucking axe that he charged up. and like was fighting Godzilla with, and he was able to like stop the fucking breath with at one point.
Yeah, I mean, they had to come up with some kind of way.
Yeah.
Kong would not be instantly, like, incinerated.
You know, honestly... Yeah, I honestly thought at one point he was going to go down there and, like, sit in some chamber and, like, get his own powers. But they never did that. I was kind of shocked. Instead, they were like, here's an axe. Which I was like, whatever. Just get to the next time when Kong and fucking him fight. Like, you know. There was a funny part in this movie, though, where the one chick, like, that's like the daughter of the bad guy, tries to, like, they try to escape and they shoot Kong. And Kong, like, grabs the fucking plane they're in and, like, looks to see if any, like, he looks inside and I'm assuming he's looking to see if, like, his friends are in it, like, the deaf girl. And sees that, like, nobody he cares about's in it, and he just crushes it. And it literally, like, he just kills fucking... I think that's, like, the only direct kill that he does in this movie to, like, a human.
Yeah, and that's one thing I liked about King Kong Returns, is, like, he's killing dudes left and right and, like, eating humans.
Yeah, I mean...
There should have been more of that.
Well, King Kong, that's not the character he is in this film now. He's more of a Mighty Joe Young, it seems like. He's very passive, like...
Mighty Joe Old.
Weak Jim Old. Yeah, I had a note that says the stuff inside the earth with Kong is really awesome. Yeah, I'm just an ass screaming. Kong shoves a bone down Godzilla's throat. I was cracking up at that. Because that was like a remake of the Godzilla vs. King Kong movie they did back in the day. Where fucking he grabs that tree and shoves it down his throat. King Ghidorah, let me see here. Yeah, there was actually, I don't know if you caught this, but, because a lot of these are stupid fucking references.
I was probably checking my email.
Who gives a fuck? But, like, Bernie's brand of whiskey, who gives a fuck? Like, that kind of stuff. But one of the cool things was, what is it here? Wingard said that he was a huge fan of the Lethal Weapon series, in particular Lethal Weapon 2.
Oh.
And in this movie, Kong's shoulder gets fucked up, and he, like, relocates it by, like, slamming it against a high-rise building. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. He, like, pops it back into fucking socket, which I thought was fucking really cool, but I didn't really catch that at first, because I was like, I couldn't really tell what was going on. And then, like, he did it.
You think Riggs and Murtaugh could have defeated Godzilla?
Oh, yeah, for sure. People that were, like, not even as big as his toenail. I'm sure they would have had no issue. Danny
Glover just would have blown his head off in cold blood.
He would have blown his own head off. He's like, I don't have time for this. Fucking kill me.
Monster immunity.
Yeah. So, yeah, yeah, like, so,
what do you got?
I don't fucking know what to say about this movie.
I don't either.
Because it's like, I liked some of the parts of it. I liked everything to do with King Kong.
I found the cutscenes of the monster fights to be mostly entertaining.
Yeah.
But they're cutscenes.
The aircraft carrier stuff was pretty legit when he was, like, jumping across the aircraft carriers, and then, like, the first time he punches him was legit and stuff. And I liked any of the stuff where King Kong was swinging around. I thought it was kind of funny, though, when they were going into the Hollow Earth, and he, like, is swinging from these, like, pre-made things. It's like I guess they built those to make sure that he had something to grab onto.
Yeah, right. I mean, I get it. You can't, like, you have to have CGI to make a movie like this, right? But at the same time, like, I would like a little bit more creativity, or like use some models. Like, this movie cost $160 million to make. If you took that money and made like state of the art models and some animatronics, there'd be some amazing stuff that they could do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or like King Kong 1976, they built a full-size King Kong robot. It didn't work, but at least they tried.
At least they wasted a shit ton of money.
Hey, it was in like 2 seconds of the movie. I sent you the clip.
Yeah, that was funny because it's so clear because he just drops it and it's like his arms are like noodles.
Like I mean, that kind of stuff is why I like these movies in the first place.
No, yeah, I agree, but yeah, it's kind of one of those things where like that's not Hollywood anymore. Sadly, it's like nobody like the last time that was really a thing is when J.J. Abrams started off with the Star Wars remakes, or like remakes, but well, essentially the first. but he
a Freudian slip.
He was like, check out all these fucking practical like costumes and characters, and this is a person that's going to be on screen for a couple minutes, but like
like that giant hog beast.
Yeah,
that was great. That was
that
awesome
stuff, and then like they were like, this is taking too much time. When we do the sequel, we're going to have all CG. And, like, it showed, because it was like, holy fuck, this sucks. But that was the last time they tried to do something like that on a big movie that I remember. And it's a shame, because I agree with you, like, I think everybody would agree.
Jurassic Park, like, there's some CGI in that, but, like, they built a full-size Tyrannosaurus, and, like, even the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park, like, that was all real.
They made it so it could actually go underwater and all kinds of shit.
That was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, my only issue with any of that now is that, like, they've gotten, like, to the point where they don't even try that kind of shit anymore, because they're, like...
Or they lie and say that they are, like in the new Jurassic Parks, but it's a lie.
Oh, yeah. It's just to get people in the theaters, and then they're like, just kidding, bait and switch. But it's one of those things where it's like, they're like, well, we could build all this shit, or... we could just come up with, like, the script for the humans and then, like, CG and the fucking monsters. Because, like, they literally have to do nothing but just have a bunch of people on computers, like, throw it together afterwards.
Yeah, which is why I made the comment about the director. Like,
yeah,
what an easy job. All you have to do is, like, you know, approve some previs and then direct the actors, which was...
like, that was not a fucking... So it's essentially, he didn't even, like, do the job he was, like, hired to do well. And like you were saying, though, I'm sure a lot of that also falls on, like, the horrible fucking dialogue for the script, like, as well. Yeah. But that's also kind of the part... I mean, it's kind of one of those things there where you think about it, it's like, how much creative control with a big movie like this do you think this person had? Because it's one of those things where if he had, like, no real control for, like, this fucking movie, then, like he literally was just put in place to, like, carry out what the script said, and, like, he had no direct impact on the, you know what I mean? Saying, like, well, this looks stupid, or this sounds stupid, this dialogue is shit, like... You know, would they have just been like, okay, well, thanks for your time, get the fuck out? Because there's totally a ton of fucking times when they've done that with, you know, past people, where they were just like, oh, we don't like the way we're going? We know you've made a shit ton of great movies, but guess what? This is a committee movie. Get the fuck out of here. You know, it happens all the time. I mean, look at Zack Snyder.
I'm sure that was the case here.
Yeah, which is a shame. I do want to say,
like, this director, I think he is talented. He did the Blair Witch sequel, which was really, really bad as well, and like missed the whole, like,
the mark.
Got nothing that was good.
Oh shit! He also did like Death Note for fucking Netflix, which I heard was fucking horrible.
But he did do an awesome movie called The Guest, which is basically like if you combine Halloween and the Terminator. That's kind of what that movie was.
Oh shit!
Great movie, but like very small, like low budget.
Oh shit! You know what he's gonna be doing next? Take a guess.
King Kong versus
it stars
Weak Dimmel.
John Travolta and Nicolas Cage.
Face Off?
Yeah, a sequel. He's set to direct and co-write a sequel to Face Off, and an adaptation of Thundercats live action.
Previous nerd news.
Yeah. So
figure out how you can bring John Travolta back to life after being harpooned to death.
Yeah, it sucks because it's one of these things where, like, okay, so, like, we're gonna look at this. So, like, he directed this movie, but the story was written by 3 people. The screenwriters were 2 people. And there were, like, 4 or 5 producers on this movie. And then you look at King Kong versus Godzilla. How many directors do you think that movie had? Well, I guess this movie only had 1, so it was 1. It was Ishiro Honda. How many like screenwriters do you think that movie had, or like, you know, like the story was by?
2?
1.
Mm.
The story and the screenwriter was by 1 person. So, Shinichi Sayazawa. He fucking did the fucking screenplay, and he was the original writer. So, like, he was able to create an actual complete vision with 1 other guy instead of, like, a director. 3 fucking people that wrote a story, then 2 people that made a screen adaptation of it. So that's already... And none of these people are the same people. They all have different ideas and different visions of what they should be. And then there were fucking, like, 4 producers or 5 producers, and then it was under fucking Warner Brothers, which is notorious for taking shit like Justice League and on Batman v Superman and, like, committing the fuck out of Suicide Squad. It's like, this movie was doomed to fucking fail from the beginning. Like, I don't know why, like, I don't know. Like I said, it's not like there's nothing good about this movie. There are good parts to this movie, but it just, none of it has to do with, like, the human characters. Like, it's mainly, like, anything Kong's doing something. There's, like, 2 scenes with Godzilla that Kong isn't in, which is ridiculously horrible. Like, that you wouldn't have more shit with King or Godzilla in it. It's Godzilla versus Kong, not, like, Kong, like, and the adventures of sometimes Godzilla. Like, it's like...
Yeah, I mean, I think to summarize your point, like, this is really good corporate product that has the widest appeal to, like, every international, you know, company.
Oh yeah, this is probably going to do like $1 bazillion in China.
So, like, yay.
It's so non-offending. It's not even, like, funny. It's not even funny anymore! When you look at Kong Skull Island, that movie only had 1... They had 1 person that wrote the story. Not fucking 3. So, fuck off. Now, it had 3 fucking screenwriters, but one of them was the same person that did this movie, this Max Borenstein. So it could have been that, like, he was brought on from Kong Skull Island to probably make the parts for Kong. And if he did, then I have to give it to him, because those were definitely the best part of the movie. For my buck, I honestly most of the time just wish I was watching another Kong movie, to tell you the truth. As bad as it sounds, because I like Godzilla, but this made me think that Kong has always had great actors and, like, great human scenes for the most part, and Godzilla has almost always had horrible fucking human parts. And it's like,
yeah,
that's a shame, because, like, overall the Kong movies are almost always more well-rounded, and the Godzilla movies have great, almost always, like, better fight scenes, but, like, everything else sometimes is just a fucking chore to get through, and it magnifies it, because the stuff for Kong is on a different level than the stuff for Godzilla, because there just isn't anything for Godzilla to do, because they've already set him up as just a non-caring entity, and he has really no character. I mean, he kind of does, but, like, he doesn't give a fuck. I mean, why should he? He's, like, doing his own thing. You know?
If only they had introduced his brother, Godzuki, to try to protect him.
What about his son of Godzilla or whatever?
Exactly.
Where he talks to, like, boys in tiny shorts. It's a fucking pedophile.
That's a great character.
I know, right? I remember watching that movie and being like, what the fuck? It is a shame, since the original Kong vs. Godzilla was a satire of corporate television in which Kong was a literal marketing stunt. Nice action and wrestling scenes. Yeah.
Ah, good call.
Oh my.
On the flip side, they did torture an octopus to death on screen, so that's upsetting.
Jesus.
Yeah, like there's a scene where a giant octopus attacks.
And it's like a literal actual octopus.
They used a real octopus, like pulled it out of the water and blew like air on it to get it to move around.
Jesus.
So yeah, that's hard to watch these days.
And then they probably chopped it up into like a million pieces.
I'm sure they did.
I'm sure they will.
Delicious.
I'm sure they can. I'm sure they can. Do you have any other notes?
No, I think we've done it.
What have we done?
And I never want to talk about this movie again.
So, as I said, well, thank you for following Ghost Hand 246. What do you? What the fuck is wrong with me, man? It's just like this movie shit my life.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, do you think this is the worst?
You said you were looking forward to talking about it, and honestly, I wasn't, because I don't have too many good things to say about it. You know.
I think I was looking forward to talking about it because I like Godzilla and I like King Kong, but now that we've gotten into it, I'm like, I don't like the Transformers way this movie was made. Like,
yeah, me either.
Like, this could have been like one of the greatest monster films ever, and instead it was just.
And I will give it credit, because we both criticized the first Godzilla movie because like they barely showed Godzilla, like it was a slap in the face, right?
Yeah.
So that wasn't the case here. So give them credit on that front.
Yeah, no, I agree, yeah, and in regards to that, like, you know, we're shitting on, like, the whole, like, you know, this sucks, it's CG and stuff, and then we were saying, you know, you could do models and stuff, but, like, realistically, you know, we're saying, like, yeah, we understand, like, it sucks, but, like, CG, and I didn't specifically think that it looked really that bad. I mean, at least it wasn't like in some of the other ones where it was, like, super dark and you couldn't see shit, like...
Right.
You could see everything that was happening, and it wasn't like Cloverfield where, like, shaky cam was the fucking thing. Like, you could see everything, you know. It was legit. It was good. It was just kind of like... The problem is... everything to do with, like, when the humans were on screen, which was, like, way more of it than it should have been.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was very much two different movies. It was like... It was pretty much like a Kong movie that happened to have Godzilla in it, and, like, the last 30 minutes were, like, Godzilla and Kong. And, like, before that, it was, like a King Kong movie that would cut away to, like, scenes of Godzilla rightfully destroying horrible shit that was gonna fucking try to kill him. And, like, these bad characters trying to, like, clear Godzilla's name and find out why he was destroying these, because they knew that he wouldn't do that for no good reason when he had been doing it all his life for no reason. Like,
yeah.
Or not whole reason, I guess, when he got fucking awakened. But, would you say that after watching this movie, this is now your favorite movie we've reviewed?
Yes, I would.
I knew you would.
I loved it.
I love it. I don't care.
I liked it. I loved it.
Hey, I feel like a kaiju.
Got the right one, baby. Uh-huh.
A committee fucking movie. Oh.
Can we end with some positivity about and a teaser for next week?
We will. I'm gonna ask you one question and then we'll get on to the good stuff.
Okay.
So
let me ask you:
is
ahead. This your favorite movie of all time? Yes or super yes?
Fuck off. So last time we talked about our, I might start this as a reoccurring thing, but yeah, I'm going to actually. Last time I asked what was the worst movie that we watched, and you said you didn't like AVGN movie. I said I wasn't a huge fan of Real Men. I think we kind of were both talking about the negatives of both. Is this movie dethrone either one of those as the worst movie we've watched, or not, in your opinion?
Wow. There couldn't be a bigger difference between AVGN movie and Kong vs. Godzilla.
And Real Man. except for the last bit of fucking AVGN.
Yeah. Well, I mean, AVGN is like one person making a personal movie.
That's true.
And which is the complete opposite of Kong vs.
Which is like 10 people making a huge movie.
Right. So for that reason, I will say that yes, this is the worst that we've done so far.
Wow.
Dethroning AVGN.
There you go, James Rolfe. You fucking gotta give it to me.
You're out of the doghouse now. Get back to work.
Yeah, cowbunga piece of dog shit, son.
Drink a Rolling Rock in your honor.
I don't know, man. Like, I honestly...
Think of all those funny lines in Real Men that you enjoyed so much, right?
I mean...
John Ritter.
At least Real Men had jokes that were funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to say that this is worse than any movie we've seen. I don't think it's the worst movie I've ever seen by a long fucking shot.
No,
and
not at all.
It's just so in the movies we've watched for this podcast, and I'm sure this movie will definitely be dethroned fairly fucking quickly, by another horrible movie.
Not next week.
Well, no, not next week.
Because we're gonna go for a little ride. On the Midnight Meat Train. Woo woo.
The gay fucking porno. It's not actually a porno. But it is, I keep saying it's fucking, it's Vinnie Jones is in this movie. And, what's his face? Bradley Cooper. I keep saying it was like fucking... Yeah?
Why is he signed this as like a joke, I guess? Or as like torture?
He signed this as a joke because when we saw the trailer,
joke's gonna be on him, my friend.
We saw the trailer for this. We thought it was a gay porno.
Well, yeah, I remember that because this was the time where we were seeing tons of movies in theaters.
Yeah,
right?
and they were like Midnight Meat Train, and we were like, "What?"
It's like I think we were laughing out loud.
Yeah, we were cracking up.
Like that title is so ridiculous. But the joke's gonna be on him because I don't really remember much from this movie, but I remember thinking it was pretty good. But we'll see.
That's always a great thing when you can't remember what a movie's about. Trav says, which one is the best out of the movies we've seen for the podcast?
I think we asked that question last time, and for me, it's Wicker Man.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't been.
Like
it wasn't dethroned by Kong versus Godzilla.
I know, I can't believe it.
It was not only the best movie, it was the worst.
But I still think Last Boy Scout was probably the most fun to talk about.
Yeah, I had a blast watching that movie, The Last Boy Scout. Honestly, it's definitely a hidden gem.
Friday night's a great
night for football. Wah, wah. I don't know. I really liked Law Abiding Citizen, except for the ending. Hoosiers was fucking awesome. Probably the only movie where it had like a shit ton of fucking like Hoosiers was legit. I don't know. We watched a lot of really good stuff. Wicker Man, I don't know. Not Hoosiers, Solly? Disappointed.
Hoosiers is right up there too. I mean,
yeah, I think Wicker Man is just like a classic for us. I don't think it gets enough love, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are horror fans that like it, but I think a lot of people haven't seen it just in general. So maybe they have. Maybe people just don't talk about it. But yeah. So next week, Midnight Meat Train. What? Just that
Get your tickets. Yeah. The train's gonna be departing soon. Bring your boarding passes.
Bring your board shorts, because you're gonna need them. Because you're gonna get wet.
With meat.
Yeah.
You're gonna see some wet meat.
When this meat hits fucking 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
You're gonna see some serious meat. When this train hits midnight,
you're gonna see some serious meat. It's like, what the fuck? Also, like, why would you say that?
Midnight meat versus train. Whoever wins, we lose.
The time they're like, let's kill off Bryan Cranston in the first act. What's with that? It's backwards.
All right.
Anything else to say on this fucking movie?
Nope. Another perfect episode in the books.
In the books. Just waiting for somebody to nominate Justice League so that we can spend 4 hours fucking watching that movie.
Don't do it. I'd rather watch Space Jam.
Holy fuck. Watch that trailer so we can talk about it next week.
Do I have to?
I don't have to. I'm like, yes! If you don't, I'm coming to your house, I'm gonna kill you.
You're fired from the show.
From this fucking fun thing that we're doing. You don't have to. I thought you would have a shit ton to talk about.
I stopped getting my Buddy Shotz paychecks. Do you know what's going on?
I'll look into that. You look behind me and I've got like a stack of them. I'm like, raise my roof. I'm gonna raise my roof. Okay, yeah. So next week, Midnight Meat Train. We don't have any movies after that, so if anybody wants to nominate one anytime that I'm streaming, which, anytime during any of these podcasts or, when I'm on, for sure.
Well, if not, it's your pick next.
That's true. Everybody get their butt in gear. Let's see, how many points does it take to nominate a movie? It's there's the fucking topic, which we haven't had a topic in a while, but I feel like we really don't need that anymore. We kind of go off on the fucking weeds anyway. It's only 1,000 points to have us watch any movie you want. Except for fucking, like, snuff films. Yeah. So,
right.
I'll let you say your piece. I don't know what that... I'm like, I hope nothing happens!
Let's get on board. I hope nothing happens on the Midnight Meat Train.
I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I hope nothing happens. It's like,
ominous.
What the fuck does that mean? Cool. So, yeah.
Right.
Oh, shit. Trav just redeemed for Donnie Brasco.
Okay.
So I guess after Midnight Meat Train, Donnie Brasco. I've heard of that movie. I've never seen it before, but... yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
You've escaped Justice League one more time.
Damn it! Don't do it.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't pick that as one of the films for sure, because it's like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's I already watched it once. I don't need to watch it again. Yeah. So that's it. Midnight Meat Train, then Donnie Brasco. We will see you next time. Same time, same Twitch. Fuck it. See you later, buddy.
Bye.